Hello everybody and welcome to another Dragon Ball Super trading card game deck profile. So this time I'm bringing you guys some Goku's Lineage deck profile, and this is basically a deck that I want to emphasize the idea of playing this game on a budget, because a lot of people want to enjoy the game but have the mentality that card games cost a lot, and I want to prove that that's not the case, because you can build a deck like this that is pretty easy on your pocket. A lot of the cards that I'm using, you get in the starter deck, and then you only have to spend another maybe $10 to get the rest of the cards, and you have a fully functional deck. And I want to the reason why I built this deck the way I did is because it sort of reminds me of Mid-Range Hunter from Hearthstone. So if you ever played Hearthstone, Mid-Range Hunter is a very friendly budget deck that helps budget players or new players that got into the game be able to build a deck for very cheap dust cost, or just cost in general, and they can get a lot of wins and help them climb the ranked ladder to those rank 15s, those rank 10s. And this deck sort of does the same, where it's a very efficient deck, it's very budget, and it will help you get those wins when you're your local or your regionals, because the deck just has a really solid game plan, and it really doesn't cost a whole lot, and it just is just able to win games very early on, so your opponent won't really have the chance to bring out their big combos or the big beaters, the really powerful £100 cards or $100 cards, and you'll kill them before that. So that's sort of what I wanted to build a deck around. So because of that, I chose this particular leader. I chose a lot of the cards in the start deck because honestly they are just really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the list from low cost cards to high cost cards to just help me not lose track of what I'm doing, and I'll explain the role of each card along the way, tell you more or less a little tips and tricks about the deck, sort of your game plan, what the role of each card is, and I'll go over the ratios right now. So my idea of ratios in this game is a 4-cost card, oh well, not 4-cost, but a 4 copies of a card basically means that you want to see this card in every single situation, you want to see this card as much as possible, and this card is very crucial to your strategy. A 3-drop for me, the way I put 3 drops in the deck, I usually group them into 2s. So when I play 3-drops, I pair them with another card because I feel like they have some sort of purpose, or they work very well together, because I want to play enough copies of the card where I see them, but I don't want to play 4 of them, because at that point they might just become energy, and I'd rather play more useful cards. So I'm playing 3 groups of 3-to-3 ratios, and the first one is the Instant Transmission Flying Nimbus, the second one is the Dynasty Solace Chi-Chi and the Dynasty Deferred Son Goku, and then the last one is the Dynasty Super Saiyan Son Goku and the Dynasty Son Goten. So I'll go over these ratios and sort of the reason why I picked them in these particular ratios. So I'm just going to get straight into the list where I'll go over each card, but I'll give you a friendly reminder that at the end of the video, if you did enjoy this video, then feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to keep up with my Dragon Ball content, and if you like what I'm doing and you want to support my channel. So let's just get straight into the deck, because I feel like I've been talking for way too long. So starting off with our leader, we have Golden Grey Ape Son Goku. So he's a pretty solid leader. When he attacks, he draws a card, and when he's 4 life or less, you awaken, you untap 2, and that is pretty huge for this deck because you use the swap mechanic quite a bit, and the swap mechanic is a very efficient way to bring out high cost cards for by paying a low by paying lower mana, or by paying less mana even. So it's pretty good. And then his awakened side is that when he attacks anything, he draws a card, but when you're basically losing in life, so when your life is equal or less your opponent, he gains plus 5,000 and critical. So he becomes a 20k swinger with crit. So this is really good because it'll help you pressure your opponent and close out games. And because of this, you have a really solid leader that you can build around, and not have a really good leader that you build the deck around the lead. No, you build the leader around the deck. So for example, most Super Saiyan 3 Goku decks just use the leader because he's really solid, and then use the leader to complement their deck. And this is the opposite way. You're using this deck to complement your leader. So our first card is Successor of Hope, and this is one of the cards that you sort of want to buy to replace some cards in the starter deck, because this card's just really good. This is just a generic reinforcement of the army, rotor, searcher. You play this and you basically just add anything from your deck to your hand. That's Goku's Lineage with the 5 cost of 4 or less, and swap. Now the reason why we play this card is because when you play this card, even though it's a 0 cost card, a lot of people just see this, oh, I'll just open this card up and I'll just add whatever I need right off the bat so I can get my plays going. But a lot of times it's actually better to save the card and see what you draw first, what you're missing, and then use the Successor of Hope. The next card in the deck is Adoptive Father Son Gohan. He's really good. Now, some people play Bardock the Progenitor, and I think that's, the card is just fine, but I like the Adoptive Father Son Gohan because it's a little bit of a more defensive card, because it has block, and also has Swap 2. So it's a Swap 2 with no cost, so you can essentially just play this and start your swap chain going. Then we move on to our first 3-to-3 ratio package, and that is the Instant Transmission Flying Nimbus. So Instant Transmission is a really solid negate attacker that helps you awaken fast a little bit if you have a Goku's Lineage card, because you can take the life and not pay the cost. But the main reason I play this card is because this is a really, really good card against double strikers and triple strikers and quadruple strikers, because this card basically mitigates the hits you take and just converts it into one hit. So usually I use this card when my opponent is swinging with a double hitter. Then we have our other negate, and that is Flying Nimbus. So Flying Nimbus is really good because it acts sort of like a floodgate. If you're familiar with floodgates in Yu-Gi-Oh, these are cards that basically restrict your opponent from doing multiple actions, and Flying Nimbus sort of works like that in the way that it stops your opponent from attacking with multiple cards, because you'll negate the initial attack, and then your opponent can only attack with one more card. So it's very, very easy to then combo to stop the opponent's attack. And then for our final two 1-drops, we have the Times 10 Kamehameha. This card's really good because it gives our Goku plus 15 power and double strike, so it makes our guy 35,000 double strike grip, and it really just helps us steal games when your opponent doesn't really expect, because with just one card you're already at 35 power, and then you can just combo off your entire hand, and then if your opponent doesn't have enough cards to beat it, or if they don't have the negate, you just basically win. And then our final 1-drop in the 3-to-3 ratio is the Dynasty Solace Chi-Chi, which I'm playing in pair with the Son Goku as for my 3-to-3. So the reason why I'm playing Chi-Chi is because some people even play the Adoptive Father Son Gohan and the Bardock, but we don't have access to Bardock because it's a very expensive card, and instead I'm playing the Chi-Chi because this just adds more consistency to the deck, since this is even though it's a Goku's Lineage card, it's not a Goku's Lineage card with swap. However, I can play this, look at the top 3, and add something to my hand, so it's sort of like a Majin Buu type of effect, or like a Dende, where when I play this I just get to add something to my deck. So it's just pretty good in that scenario. And worst case scenario, you can use this as draw. I mean, you can use this as energy, or you can use this as combo food. So pretty solid card. Moving on, we have to our 2-drops. We have our Intrepid Dynasty Son Gohan. He's really good because he's a 2-drop with barrier, and it has a stop 3. So the reason why this card is really good is because it has barrier. So it will be very hard for your opponent to remove this card unless they try to kill it with battle. And then if you have your Adoptive Father Son Gohan out on the field, you can just block the attack and keep your Gohan. Moving on, we have our dependable Dynasty Son Goku, and he is decent. He's not the best, but he's pretty decent in the way that you play this, and he's just a generic swap 3 for 2 mana. But the reason why this card is actually playable is because it has 15,000 power for being a 2-drop. So you can just poke your opponent, maybe put him at an awkward life total. Like if you put them at 5, they have to find like a self-awakening, otherwise, they'll be stuck at 5. So the Goku is just good to just really poke your opponent and then swap this out, or you can just use this as energy, or you can use this as combo. And then we have our super combos of the deck, which is the Shugesh and the Pan. So I'm playing 2-2, and this ratio is actually pretty popular, and I really understand why this ratio is really good. So Shugesh is a fantastic card. Like, this card is just amazing. Being able to bring out a Saiyan with an energy cost of 3 or less is phenomenal, on top of being a super combo, on top of this card being a super combo. But the problem is that the new Chronoa sort of shuts down Shugesh. However, the card is still good enough where you don't really want to not play the card, hoping your opponent like doesn't have. Okay, so what I mean is, some people are shying away from Shugesh because, oh, my opponent is just gonna play Chrono and I basically lose my super combo. However, you also have to think about the people that do not play that Chronoa, which is like quite common in like a local scenario where not everybody's playing meta decks, so Shugesh just becomes insanely good. And then if your opponent is playing the Chronoa, then you have your Pluck Dynasty Pan, which is actually searchable. Oh, okay, that was sad. Which is actually searchable through Chi-Chi and Successor of Hope. So, and Pan is really good because she is a Goku's Lineage card with the swap mechanic built into it. So what you can do is summon Pan, poke your opponent, maybe force out a negate or force out like a combo or something, and then you can just swap this card. It goes back to your hand, and then you have your super combo ready to be used for a big push. So I really, really like this ratio. So that's basically the super combos done. Moving on to our 3-drops now. This was sort of like the hardest part of the deck. This was the ratios and like the 3-drops that I had the most trouble putting together, because I knew I wanted to play Gohan, and I knew I wanted to play both of these, and I didn't know what ratio, so I figured the 3-3 ratio just worked out just fine. So Gohan, he's really good because when he comes out on the field, he can KO something in rest mode, and this is an auto effect, meaning it's not like a hard one percent effect or something, so you can just bring it out, use this effect, swing, okay, cool, your opponent negated, or your opponent comboed, or they took the damage, whatever. You can then swap into a 4-drop, and this goes back into your hand, ready to be used next turn, or, you know, in the next play, and KO something again. So this is like one of your better removals in the deck. Probably like your only removal in the deck, if I'm not wrong. So a very, very important card to play, but you don't want to play too many of this card, because then this card loses a lot of the value in the deck. So, and then we have our 3-drops, and the reason why I had a lot of trouble with these guys was because I wanted to play enough cards to have to bring out my 4-drops, because the 4-drops are very, very important to my strategy, but I felt like sometimes I was playing too many of them, and sometimes I felt I wasn't playing enough, and I felt the 3-3 ratio just helped me out a ton, and it was just really just perfect. So the Dynasty Super Saiyan Son Goku, he's good because he has barrier and he's 15k, so that's pretty much it, along with the swap mechanic. And the Goten is really good because he's actually just amazing combo food, since when you combo with this card, the combo value actually becomes 15k, since when he's comboed, he gives an additional 10k on top of the 5 that I already give. So Son Goten is really, really solid to help you close out those games in the mid game. So once you bring this card out, attack, poke, swap, he becomes super, super valuable as combo. Moving on to our 4-drops, this is sort of like the other, well, mostly this Son Goku. But the Gohan, I knew I wanted to play at 4, because even though it's not a card that comes in the starter deck, it's definitely a card that you want to pick up to improve your deck, because when you use this card with swap, so when you play this using swap and you swap into it, you draw 2 cards, so it has an immediate impact, and that is just phenomenal. And then the card also has barrier and 20k attack, so it's a very, very good pressure card. And then we have the Dynasty Deferred Son Goku, and this card has barrier, but then this card has the effect that at the end of the turn switches to active mode, so it basically prevents your opponent from attacking into it, and it has barrier, so it cannot be removed. So the reason why you play the Gohan is because you're looking for something, or you want to draw into more cards, and the Goku, you just basically want to sit on it and hope you have a 5-drop to swap out and bring out the 5-drop and get this back into your hand. So that's pretty much the reason why I'm playing the 7 swappers. So I was initially playing 4 of this along with 4 Chi-Chi, but I felt like that was just a little bit too much, and I was missing out on the opportunity to play the Son Goku, which I wanted to play very, very badly. So I decided to bring this card back to 3, so I brought the Chi-Chi back to 3 as well, because they were once at 4. Oh, okay. I touched something. Anyway, moving on to our sort of mid-game finishers, sort of say, like our mid-game power spike cards. We have Super Saiyan Blue Son Goku at the apex and Reborn my Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. So the reason why I'm playing these cards, and only these cards, I'm not really playing like the Ultra Instinct Yellow Goku or whatever, even though that card is like pretty good, I just don't feel like I need to play it right now to win games. Because my deck is already like really good at winning those mid games. So Goku at the apex. The reason why we play this at 4, so ignore the text that comes up on the screen because that's wrong and that's reading the Reborn my Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. I should probably report that bug, but anyway. So I'll read Goku at the apex effect for you. So it has the swap A mechanic for 4 energy. It has Barrier, Double Strike, and Auto. When you play this card, if your leader is Goku's Lineage, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So the reason why we play 4 of this is because as soon as it comes out onto the field, it has an immediate impact to just KO your opponent's cards. And it also has Double Strike, and you don't have to work towards the Double Strike. You don't have to do some sort of like condition to get the Double Strike. It just has the Double Strike. So the card is really, really good, and it's sort of like the main card that you want to use to just try swinging your opponent as much as possible. On the other hand, you have the Reborn, my Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. Even though this card is pretty flashy, it's really only like a card you want to use in those like anime comeback scenarios, because once per turn you choose 1 life from your energy, add it to your hand, and then switch this card to active mode, and if you have 2 or less life, this card gains triple strike. So the sweet spot that you want to play this card at is at 3 life, because then you have the 2 life condition and you have a decent, you have like a healthy life total. So the card essentially has dual attacks, so you can attack 2 times, and then it has triple strike. So this card is just going to put insane amount of pressure on the board, and you're going to really make your opponent waste a lot of resources trying to stop this card. So that's really the reason why you want to play this card, is just to swing your opponent. You get the negate, or you'll get the combo food out of their hand, and then you can just finish your opponent off with a times 10 Kamehameha by attacking with your leader, because at that point your leader will have 35,000 double strike crit. So that's my reasoning for playing the 6 5-drops, but in the ratio of only 2 Reborn my Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku and 4 Super Saiyan Blue Goku at the apex. Apex is a little bit more reactive, and Might is more for ending your games. So this is pretty much my budget starter deck upgradable Goku's Lineage deck profile. If you guys again did enjoy this video, then feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and until then I'll see you guys in the next video.